The candle's flame wavered, trembling as though it could sense the weight of the night ahead. I stood alone in the kitchen, the faint scent of flour still on my hands, staring at the table I had spent hours perfecting. It was a careful arrangement of her favorite dishes, each one a quiet, wordless plea to find the connection we had somehow lost. The clock slid past 8, then 9, and with each passing minute the hope I had poured into this evening curdled into dread. My phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. "I'm too tired. Can we do this another night?" The words hit like a hollow punch to the chest. I didn't answer. I didn't even stay home. The plan had come to me that morning, born from a restless need to bridge the widening distance between us. Sarah and I had been married 6 years, but lately she felt like a stranger lying beside me. Her smiles were rare, her touches brief, and her gaze always seemed far away. I thought maybe a night like the old days, just the two of us, could pull us back together. So I prepared. I left work early, hunted down the freshest ingredients, and spent the afternoon cooking a dinner that said, without words, "I still love you." Rosemary roasted chicken, creamy garlic mashed potatoes, a bottle of the Pinot Noir we'd shared on our honeymoon. I even set out the good china, the plates we only used for milestones, and lit candles that wrapped the dining room in warm, golden light. Around noon, I sent her a playful text. "Got something special planned tonight. Be home by 7. Her reply was short, "Sure." Not much, but enough to keep my fragile hope alive. I imagined her walking through the door, her tired expression softening as she saw the table, maybe even reaching for my hand. I held on to that image as I chopped, stirred, and waited. By 7:30, the house was quiet except for the low hum of the oven keeping dinner warm. I checked my phone. Nothing. I sent another message, light and casual. "Running late? Dinner's ready when you are." Still no response. At 8:15, I called. Straight to voicemail. I told myself she was stuck in traffic. Or maybe her phone had died. Maybe work had kept her late. But then a darker thought slipped in. What if she wasn't coming because she didn't want to? At 9:02, her message arrived, sharp and cold. "I'm too tired. Can we do this another night?" I stared at it, thumb hovering over the keyboard, trying to find words that wouldn't spill my hurt all over the screen. I wanted to ask where she was, why she hadn't called, why it was so hard for her to care. Instead, I turned off the stove, blew out the candles, and grabbed my coat. The food sat untouched, a quiet monument to the effort I'd wasted. I couldn't bear to stay in that house, surrounded by the ghost of an evening that would never happen. I drove with no destination, city lights blurring past the windshield. My phone stayed silent, but my thoughts grew louder with each mile. Where was she? Why had she been so distant? The past few months replayed. Her late nights, vague answers about her day, the way she'd shrink away from my touch. I had blamed her job, the pressure of her career in marketing. But now, doubt worked its way in like an unhealed wound. Eventually, I pulled into a diner, one of those all-night places with a flickering neon sign and coffee that tasted like mistakes you couldn't take back. A waitress with tired eyes came over, pad in hand. The waitress, with tired eyes and a gentle smile, slid a mug toward me. "Rough night?" she asked, her voice soft, curious. "You could say that," I muttered, staring into the dark swirl of coffee. I didn't want to talk, but the silence pressed in like a weight. Ever give something your whole heart, only to realize it didn't matter? I asked. She nodded slowly, wiping the counter over and over. "Want to talk about it?" she offered. Not really, but the words came anyway. I told her about dinner waiting at home, Sarah's text saying she'd be late, and the creeping dread that something was wrong. She listened, quiet but present, her expression a mix of sympathy and something else, like she'd heard this story before. When I finished, she leaned closer. "Are you sure she's just tired?" she whispered. The question sparked in my mind and kept burning. I left cash on the counter and walked out, not ready to face home. Instead, I drove to Sarah's office, convincing myself that seeing her car in the lot would be enough. But the lot was empty, the building dark. I called. Voicemail. I texted. No reply. My gut pulled me toward Lauren's apartment, the one friend Sarah still mentioned, the one she met for drinks. The building was sleek, guarded by a distracted doorman who barely looked up as I slipped inside. 5th floor. End of the hall. I knocked. No answer. I was turning to leave when I heard it, Sarah's laugh. Once a sound I loved, now a blade twisting inside me. I knocked again, harder. The door opened. Lauren's face shifted from surprise to panic. Inside, Sarah sat on the couch, wine glass in hand, cheeks flushed. Beside her was a man I'd never seen. Sharp suit, polished smile, eyes that didn't match it. "Mark," Sarah said, voice trembling. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same," I replied, my voice steady though my chest was pounding. The man stood, extending a hand I ignored. "Look, I don't want trouble." "Trouble?" I gave a humorless laugh. "You're sitting with my wife." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Whether from guilt or performance, I couldn't tell. "Mark, I didn't mean." "How long?" I cut in. "How long have you been lying to me?" Her silence answered for her. "It's not her fault," the man, Ethan, said. "We work together, things just—" "Shut up," I snapped. My fists clenched, every muscle screaming to lash out. But I walked away before I could cross a line I couldn't return from. The drive home was a blur of memories. Late nights, flimsy excuses, the way she stopped saying I love you first. At home, the table was still set. Candles burned to stubs. I sat in the dark, not crying, not yelling, just feeling the weight of it all. The woman I loved was gone. Maybe she always had been. In the morning, I'd pack a bag and go. Not forever. Not yet. But I couldn't live in a house that had turned into a lie. She'd call. She'd promise. She'd beg. I didn't know if I'd pick up. Trust doesn't come back easily. And as I stared at the cold, untouched dinner, I knew I hadn't just lost an evening. I'd lost the future I thought we had.